On this week's show, I asked the panel what's wrong with the Habs power play, and after they tell me, I'll tweet the Habs coaching staff, and voila, problem solved. Welcome to this week's edition of Hockey Inside Out. My name is Adam Susser. We have Mr. Stu Cowan over there, CBC Daybreak's Jessica Rusnak, and Chris Nilan sitting beside me. Viewer note, next week we'll be doing a show on Friday, December 21st, not Thursday, so don't freak out when you wake up and see us not there on Thursday. You'll just have to wait a day, but we're doing a show next week. Let's start the show. In the month leading up to Shea Weber's return to the Canadiens, the team was 5 for 12 and allowed a little over 4 goals per game. Since Weber's return, the team has won 4 of their last 7 games, and barring Tuesday night's blowout, Carey Price has been able to virtually slash his goals against average in half. Is the return of Shea Weber the main reason behind Carey Price's improved play in recent games?
I think it's a huge part. I think it's a huge part for the improved play of the team. I think he just brings a confidence to the whole team, including Carey Price. He eats up so many minutes, and he makes players think twice before they go in the scoring areas where the grade A chances are, whether you're going to get a cross-check or a hit. So he's definitely helped, but I think with Carey, it's more, at the beginning of the season, he kept talking about it was between his ears. He had something with his head, and I guess maybe Weber has helped him feel calmer, if maybe that's the right word, or maybe settled him mentally, that he feels a little bit more calm back there. At least that's the way it looks.
I think for sure just that Shea Weber's a presence. He's one of the best defensemen in the hockey league. Many people were wondering if he'd be able to come back and pick up where he left off, and so far, for the most part, he has been able to do that. And I think when teams are approaching the Canadiens, they approach them a little bit differently when Shea Weber is on the ice, and then that kind of has a trickle-down effect. As you mentioned, other players are playing with more confidence, and with a goaltender, confidence is a huge thing. So I think it has helped Carey Price.
Yeah, it certainly has helped Price. And, I think one thing we tend to overlook maybe is the emergence of a guy like Kulak, because he's really come out and played some unbelievable hockey for a kid who was let go from Calgary. He comes in here and, they put him with Weber, and people say, well, that helps him, and it certainly does. But he's made some really good decisions with the puck, too. And certainly Weber playing with him and helping him along hasn't hurt. But yeah, Shea Weber, again, one of the best D-men in the game today. And coming off that injury like he did, and to be doing what he's doing right now is just a big boost for this hockey team.
And Weber had a bit of he had a tough thing. He wasn't alone in Minnesota. I mean, it was Niemi in goal, but it just shows you that when Weber was off just a bit, things sort of fell apart. Niemi had a rough game also. But, Shea Weber, the two key guys on this team going forward, if they're going to make the playoffs, are Carey Price and Shea Weber, and they sort of go hand in hand.
I've been hearing a lot of comparisons to Shea Weber to Nicholas Lidstrom lately. Is that a fair comparison? Do you see him lasting as long as Lidstrom at that level?
Well, it was Claude Julien who made that comparison after practice last week, and it was quite interesting because he just said about how Weber makes the game look easy. Like, he just does the simple plays. He moves the puck. He doesn't have to skate a lot. And I asked him after Julien's comments, I said, have you had to change your game as the game has gotten quicker? And he said, not really, maybe subconsciously, but he's still doing the same things. He's such a physical presence, and he makes the puck do the work. And we were talking about Kulak earlier, when asking Kulak what the main thing is playing with Weber, so I just need to get open and give him an outlet pass when guys are on him. So I hadn't really thought of Lidstrom because he wasn't as physical a player as Weber, but when Julien made that comparison, it sort of makes sense that he can, as Julien said, he could play 27, 28 minutes a game because the way he plays.
He's so good at killing plays. When teams get cycling and everything, or they try to, and it gets physical, he kills the play. He wins that one-on-one battle. The puck is up or to his partner, and it's out of the zone. So, he's a beast back there.
And guys are reluctant to go into the one-on-one battles with him too. It's not like, oh God, Shea Weber.
The Canadiens were destroyed 7-1 in Minnesota on Tuesday night. What are some of your takeaways from that game?
That they played horribly. There's nothing positive to take from this game at all. Allowing 4 power play goals, a shorthanded goal. If you want to circle a disaster game, that was them. But what I just find interesting is how Minnesota really has the Canadiens' number. This was their 8th consecutive loss to them for a team that really has no connection. And it's obviously just random that they have such a difficult time with them. But last night's loss was just, as Nicolas Deslauriers said, a disgrace. It was just a horrible horrible game.
Well, it wasn't Antti Niemi's fault, but I'm starting to have concerns about Antti Niemi. He seems to be flopping around in there. I mean, they didn't really help him out that much, but his goals against average around 4 now. Wonder how reluctant Julien is to throw him in again. I mean, it wasn't his fault, but he hasn't been great this season. He's really looks more like the Antti Niemi I remember before the Canadiens got him.
When they picked him up off waivers.
And moving forward, I think that's a concern because they do need to give Carey Price a rest once in a while. I was surprised Julien put Carey Price in the third period, not warmed up. You know, imagine if he pulls a groin or something like that. Like Niemi, just sit in there and take the beating and your backup. That's part of what we pay you for. I was sort of surprised that he pulled him, and I'm wondering if maybe Julien is worrying about Niemi's confidence, and maybe that's why he pulled him after 7 goals.
Yeah, the fourth line played fairly well last night. You know, if there was a line, any positives you could take out of it, it was the fourth line. But overall, they weren't good. Killing those penalties and listen, when you're in that situation, it ruins the flow of the game for everybody else. There were some soft goals, but yeah, it was just an abysmal effort by this team. You know, they play well in spurts, but in this league, you can't play well in spurts. One-on-one battles, and it's no secret, that's a big, strong hockey club. They're a strong, tough team to play against. And when the battles get physical, if you're not moving your feet, especially the Montreal Canadiens, the way they play their game, if they're not moving their feet, they're done. And they didn't move their feet too well last night.
And you would have thought that they would have maybe a better performance because in Chicago, everyone said that game was definitely not one that they should have won, but they were able to come out with the 2 points. So to look at that and then not be able to bounce back after Minnesota, it's a little bit concerning.
Yeah, they were pushed around, as Chris said, and looking forward, if this Canadiens team does get into the playoffs and they run into a big physical team, I think they're gonna be in trouble.
He's recovering from a knee injury. Joel Armia, though, is expected to return to the lineup before the new year. Who do you think he'll replace on the team?
I think it'll probably be the end of Charles Hudon with the Canadiens because they're going to have to send somebody down, and I would imagine he's the guy. As far as the lineup, Chris was talking about the fourth line. I think Julien might start spotting Delorier, playing him against the big physical teams and sitting him against other teams, and then it's going to be a case of, is it Agostino? Michael Chaput has really impressed me. I think he's, and so is Agostino, but so just because of the fourth line, but I think the return will have more of an impact on Charles Hudon, who doesn't seem to have a place anymore in this team.
I like the line of Byron, Lehkonen, and Kotkaniemi. So that I don't want to see that broken up at all. Like I want to keep that line intact, and I think it just comes when Joel Armia is ready to come back. Is kind of see which lines sort of need a spark, and perhaps putting a player that's coming back and wanting to get right back in the lineup. He might be able to bring that to some lines that are a little bit struggling at that point.
We might see the Finnish connection again too, because that worked for a while.
I agree with you, Stu. They're going to spot Delorier probably. I don't know where they'll put Armia when he comes back, but I don't know if he's really a guy for the fourth line. I think he should play it more up in the lineup. Obviously, he does a lot of good things out there. Listen, he's not going to light it up offensively all the time. We know that, but he's going to hang on to the puck. He's going to win puck battles. Possession numbers will be better when he's on the ice, and that means a lot to hockey club. You look at Minnesota last night when they had the puck in the offensive zone. They were hanging on to it. They were holding guys off. They were getting things done. It's not always, these fast break 3-on-2s, scoring off the cycle. If the battle becomes physical, and it usually does in the offensive zone, the Habs are going to have a tough time winning those battles, and he's a guy that can provide that for this team.
If they do put the Finnish connection back together, one of the things Julien has that really works well for you is Andrew Shaw, and he has Paul Byron, guys that can play on all 4 lines. So Paul Byron's not a fourth liner, but if you put Paul Byron down with Agostino and Chaput, it gives that line more of an offensive threat, I would think, also, and the same with Shaw. So those two are two guys that are really handy to have when you're a coach, so you can play them on the first line, second line, third line, fourth line. And Byron has a
and they won't whine.
And they won't whine. And Chaput with his work ethic, and Agostino so smart with the puck. A guy like Byron, is like that fourth line could go from being the grit line, make sure the other team doesn't score, to a line that might actually be able to provide a bit of offense also.
Kenny Agostino was called up from Laval at the beginning of November, and he's fought his way onto the second power play unit. What are some of Agostino's biggest strengths and biggest weaknesses?
I like his work ethic for a player that was able to sort of find himself a little spot on this team, and he's been able to bring that energy that fourth line needs. But I would say some of his weaknesses is that he's not a full-time NHL player, that he's going to be called up and work hard like he has in the last little while, but he's not someone that will be here all season long, in my opinion.
He's a guy with offensive skill. He won the AHL scoring championship a couple of years ago, and the thing Claude Julien keeps mentioning about him is he puts the puck in good places. And the days of just rifling it in the zone and hammering it in are gone now. Now it's placing it so the on-rushing forward can go get the puck. So that's one of the things. He's smart. Like he has some offensive skills. That's why they have him on the second power play. And he's smart with the puck. He puts it in good place. And one of the reasons that line works, he puts it in good place. And then Chaput and Delorier bust their butts and go get it. So he's, I'm happy to see a guy like that. He's like a 26, I think he is. He's sort of like a career minor leaguer. Had a lot of success in the AHL. Get an opportunity. He's making the most of it. As you said, will he be able to stay right through when Armia comes
I don't
back?
think
We
he's
don't
going
know.
anywhere.
Yeah.
I think this coach really likes him. He's earned his way here, and I think he's going to be part of this team. He provides something that they need so bad. Guys that can get in the corners, can hang on to the puck, can battle, stuff like that. Again, he's not one of these little speedsters, but he's certainly a guy that can help this team win hockey games. And on that fourth line, and I think they certainly they need a good fourth line to be able to win hockey games. And I don't see him going anywhere. He's not going back to Laval.
Well, you were mentioning about
There's
Shaw
no
and
way.
Byron not being whiners. Here's a guy who's not going to whine either if you make him a healthy scratch for a couple of games. Here's a guy who's just so happy to be in the NHL, have his opportunity. But you said his work ethic, that line, that fourth line, the work ethic of Chaput and him and Agostino with Delorier. Delorier's skating, like it's not the most beautiful skater. It takes him a little longer. That's what I'm saying. If they put Byron or someone else on that line at one, what's that?
It's not about
No, it's
beauty.
not. It's about getting there, and he gets there. And but as I said, it's nice to see a guy like that get an opportunity and make the most of it. Like Chris was saying before about Brett Kulak, an opportunity to play beside Shea Weber, and he's made the most of it.
The Canadiens are one of the top teams in 5-on-5 scoring in the NHL. Last time I checked, they were 29th on the power play. Why does this team have so much trouble scoring on the power play?
Honestly, they have a brutal breakout. They can't gain the zone untouched. They always get forced either in their own end coming out or through the neutral zone. They do that stupid drop pass thing, which drives me nuts. 1-2 times on a rush, and it throws everything off. I think it's ridiculous. One team did it. I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, then every team in the league copied it. It's like Patrick Waugh, when he pulled the goalie, 4 minutes left, everybody did it. They copy each other. I think they have to reset on this. The coach himself, instead of delegating what to do on the power play to Kirk Muller, whoever else, I think the coach has to take control of this and come up with a breakout and a plan that they can get entry into the zone. Now, you have to work too. Sometimes I think they relax a little bit. Oh, we got a power play, and they go out there and they get pressure, and they feel it. They end up coughing up the puck. So they have to simplify it right now. And if it means dumping the puck and going to get it, that's what they have to do because they're not skating into the zone with it, and it's real frustrating to watch. And they certainly don't have the players that. Can go out there and really dump it and go get it, but that's what they have to do. They got to outnumber guys. They don't outnumber guys. It's like everybody wants to set up before they have a good control of the puck. Everybody wants to go their position. The other night against Minnesota, they had the power play there. They had like 4 guys on the puck, and they come up with it, then they spread out. Canadians don't do that.
They're trying to be too pretty. I mean, as you said, the drop passes and this. I think they need to get back to just being a gritty power play. You say hammer it in, go get it, and shoot the puck at the net and go get rebounds. I mean, this passing around, looking for the perfect play, it's not working. And the drop pass and the end, just getting in the zone has been a struggle. And then once they get there, it's not much better. So I think they just need to go back, hammer it in, go get it to the point, shoot, and get rebounds, and try and get some ugly goals on the power play instead of trying to make all these highlight reel goals.
Well, that's what I think is so frustrating about that. They're not being aggressive, and they're passing it too much. That you can almost feel it in the Bell Center that everyone's really shouting, just shoot the puck at the net and then see what happens. That there's been, I don't know how many times so far this year that they've had a power play and had 0 shots on goal because they're too busy passing around. And if you're not trying to shoot at the net, you're never going to score a goal. You never know. You might get a lucky bounce or whatever, but you're wasting the man advantage.
Well, the second power play usually does a little bit better than the first, because honestly, I think they feel the urgency. They usually get out there with like 40 seconds left, and they're like, we got to do something quick here, and they press a little more. There's more intensity when they get on the ice, so they got to fix it, or they're not going anywhere.
Well, that's saying you don't score on 100% of the shots you don't take, so they shoot the puck.
Said Michael Scott.
Yeah.
That's all the time that we have for this week's show. With the Canadiens' scoring ability, why can't they score on the power play? And what would you like to see done differently? Let us know in the comments section below. I'm Adam Susser, and I'll see you back here next Friday.